Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as you can see on F1 2020 as always. And in today's video, if we look at the names on this list, this is probably the most competitive league race that I have ever participated in. And this is a new league. It's called SRC, run by the guys at Shazoo, who have done a fabulous job organising this. And basically the format is that it's pretty much a random calendar. You're in a driver pairing. I'm with LCR Leopard, my championship rival. We are paired in the same team. We are representing a league as every other team is, and we're representing WOR. And it's just a fun, fairly short calendar. And whoever comes out on top, the points go down to I think like P16, so it's not run off the F1 point system, so it is something completely different. But the biggest thing, as I said, the competition is just absolutely mental. And you can see here a 24-6 would put you in P7 or P8 right now. That's how fast it is. And for me, no, I said I wanted a bit of a break, but I just couldn't really turn down this offer here. And you know, it was something I was thinking for a while, because the people in qualifying over one lap are going to be absolutely cracked. You can see we've done a 24.8. It's P17 on the grid right now, and I think I got the front row TSRL with the 24.7, which was a good few months ago. So everyone has just improved so much, and including myself around here. I did a 24.3 as my PB. I did that on a few occasions, but even that isn't going to get you on the front row at the moment. So it is just very, very daunting. And yeah, I need to get a good grip position, because I feel my race pace against my competition on Xbox is very good, but everyone just seems to be so good in the qualifying at the moment. And just a bit of a backstory of how I'm feeling on F1 at the moment. Right now, although it seems very hypocritical, I feel like I need a little bit of a break. I had a break before, felt good to come back and start performing well, but I think sometimes less is more. And right now, in practice, especially in qualifying, my pace is extremely good, but I'm just not doing it when it counts in a league race. I think my race pace and the consistency is still on point, but I'm just bottling quite a lot of laps in the qualifying right now. And this lap here wasn't a bad lap, to be honest. For me, that's a 24.6 is quite good. It was almost a 5, so that would have been pole in TSRL. But around here, that's not even top 10. That's P13 on the grid here, and you'll be able to hear there's a lot of team radio between myself and Leopard during this race here. So we're starting P12, P13, which is a little bit of a blessing in disguise, which means we can start on the hard compound tyres, so doing the alternative strategy here. So that's a little bit maybe of a blessing in disguise. But yeah, the race pace is just absolutely crazy. So we've got 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights here. And as we're waiting for him to go out, we try to get a good start. And I get a pretty actually decent launch off the line, delaying my ERS ever so slightly and then turning off, because I saw I wasn't going to make a position. So I'm trying to go around the outside. JKB has actually gone down the inside of me. It's better just to get through the first lap. So we actually lost a couple of positions, actually regained back again, and a Ferrari just spins around. Of course it's a Ferrari, he does that. And now we have VSR Dominic, who I think I say every video, he just does not give up when you're trying to overtake. He will just use his ERS until it's fully depleted, which hopefully he doesn't take that as an insult, but that's kind of how it feels when I'm racing against him. But luckily we get the move done. So we've gone back into P13 now. Leopard's going against JKB, who's not leaving JK many room. You know what Leopard's like. He is quite an aggressive driver, and he definitely admits that himself. And he's trying to go down the inside of TSR Marvin. That results in him getting a bit of a poor exit.
Yeah, good start.
And so far, it's been a pretty decent start. So Leopard's made up one position. I've maintained my position, and we're near the front of the train for this alternative strategy at least. But as I was trying to say, and you can see now Dominic has tried to go around the outside of me there. And Marvin, I don't know what has gone on with him. I think he must have disconnected. So we've actually gone up into P12 now, which again is really not too bad. And I think Leopard is the lead guy on this alternative strategy. So we actually are in a pretty decent position. Everyone else in front is on the soft tyres. But as I said, my mentality entering this race and how I'm feeling about F1 right now is definitely feeling a bit burnt out. And yeah, just especially in qualifying, I'm just not hitting close to what I'm doing in practice. In practice, it goes very well with the quali, but you just have these phases where you just don't deliver when it matters. And I'm definitely in that phase at the moment, especially when it comes to overlap. But during the race itself, I've always seemed to have a fairly good pace, and my pace seems to be still pretty good at the moment. But grid position is just everything, as we are now about to hear a little bit of team radio here.
Why? I'm so silly sometimes. I am so silly sometimes.
Oh, you got damage.
Yeah.
Keep going, man. You never know what happened. So the safety car can happen. Just change your wing. Make sure you set it.
Yeah.
And Leopard there, as you could hear, and there'll probably be a little bit more talking as well.
Who did the contact?
He unfortunately just outbroke himself, hit CRG, and Leopard now has damage. So that is not very good news for him, as Ronha and Lut are going side by side.
Is there no more hard runners ahead of him? These are top hard runners, yeah?
Yeah, literally Jake is the lead hard runner.
So he's just telling me that Jakey is the lead guy. So we are second place in the alternate strategy at the moment. So actually, we're not in a very bad position. And the soft runners, now we've got a couple in front of us of Lut and Ron here as well. So this is really not a bad place to be. And I know Jakey B is very, very good around this track. In TSRL, he got pole, and he was very, very difficult to keep up with. So I know that if I can stay with him, this being a circuit that traditionally I don't feel I have amazing raw pace at, this would be a good thing to try and just stick on the back of him.
Trying to save my ERS.
If you look at my ERS at the moment, it's on about 30% right now. I really want to bump that up as much as possible because it is quite difficult to save the ERS here. But the good thing is that Jakey is behind Ron here. Those soft tyres will start to go off now, and we are in the DRS zone. So moving on towards the end of lap 8, you can see Lutt pitted the lap before. Let's see who else, but someone else has pitted in. Ron here decides to still continue, so it's Jonas who has pitted, along with Smasher, Oates, many other people. So there's only a few soft runners that are still remaining right now. We're doing a good job. You can see the ERS is about the same, so still having to push ever so slightly a little bit as we come towards the end of lap 9. You can see Ron, his tyres are really starting to go off now. He now pits, and you can see we're almost up to 50% now. And I knew JKB was pushing quite hard throughout the stint because his red light actually did come on a couple of times, if my eyes weren't deceiving me. So I knew he was pushing, and I felt quite comfortable in the pace.
I know Jake is low in the ERS.
Talk about me struggling.
He'll probably try and break
with the qualifying pace.
Yeah, I'm low as well,
but at least the good thing is that the race pace is still very, very strong, and it's just very, very consistent at the moment. And at this stage, I could sense there was a good opportunity to get big points in this race. So that's why I'm driving pretty hard here, and I feel like I'm driving very well. And Leopard's hanging on pretty nicely with the damaged wing as well, which is good to see. Cyrus now pitted, so all the soft runners have now pitted in this race. You can see really closing up on JKB here. And I sense he was running a little bit lower downforce than I was running. I was running, I think, 2.7 wings in this race here, same as I did in TSRL. I know Jakey does like to run a little bit of a lower downforce here. He does a little bit of a dummy to the pits, but we aren't going to pit on this lap. My strategy right now, as you can see, I've managed to save quite a lot of my ERS. So a lot of people always say, oh, you're not getting close or anything at all, but at this stage I'm not interested in overtaking him. I'm interested in getting the best result possible at the end
want to go this lap
of the race, as me and Leopard are now about to discuss when we should be pitting.
You're going this lap, yep. Yeah, because I've got a lap after.
So my strategy here was it wasn't so much to get Leopard the undercut, because I knew he had damage and he was a little bit too far back, as you can see. So Jakey now pits, So I'm just going to use this ERS that I've saved to try and go for a very, very good in-lap, because if I pit at the same time as him, if we come up to traffic and he gets through and I don't, then we have the same freshness of tyres and it's going to be really difficult to catch him, because I did feel he did have a slight pace advantage. So my thinking was really, as we're doing this in-lap, we make a bit of a mistake here. Despite going green in the first sector, just trying to use all of it on this in-lap now. My thinking was to have the freshest tyres at the end, and hopefully when we catch traffic, so we catch the people who are on the hard tyres, that he will get held up, then I'll be able to catch them at the same time, then I'll be able to get through at the same time, and then at the end of the race I'll actually go have fresher tyres than him. So that was kind of my thinking at this stage, because just pitting on the same lap as him, it's going to be very, very difficult to beat him. I think he does have that pace advantage over me around here, and if he gets through the traffic and I don't, so I'm really reliant on him being held by traffic. But as we come out the pits here, he makes an overtake going on Marvin into tail 1, and that's exactly what he needs to do. So you can see with the undercut, we didn't actually lose that much time to him. We lost about probably just over a second. Could have been a bit closer if he didn't make that mistake going into the double left here, but you can see he's caught this traffic at the right time. The guy ahead of him, I think Ron here, he's actually already got past Ron here, I think, in fact, as we skip on there. Yeah, he's already got past him, so he's got past those two cars. Hasn't really been held up whatsoever, and that's just worked out for him very, very nicely here. And you can see there is another pack of cars slightly further ahead, so I need to get past these cars as quick as I possibly can. And yeah, I was just really hoping that he was going to get caught behind him for at least a lap or 2 laps, and then I could cruise, and then I could follow him through and then take advantage at the end. So that was my thinking, because again, I just thought I wouldn't be benefiting so much if I was just pitting on the same lap, because I would just be held behind cars, and then I need that benefit of the tyres if I want to try and eat into the gap I'm trying to close down him. So right here now, I'm just trying to get in the DRS zone of TSR Marvin, who I believe hadn't pitted. He pitted very early. Now he's pitted, so I've got the DRS, and now I have to get in the DRS zone of FRA Ron here. So going towards the end of lap 18, we do exactly that. You can see JQB is up the road. The gap is about the same at this point in the race here. So no, it's still definitely in contention to try and catch him towards the end of this race, because again, I felt like my setup with the high downforce was going to be a little bit better on the tyres towards the end of the race. So we're going to do an overtake and run here, not using that much ERS here, and you can see the next group of cars is about 3.5 seconds up. Another 2 sets of cars again, so I was really hoping again that this would now be another opportunity to try and catch JQB and catch the group at the same time as him. That was really my thinking at this stage in the race. So coming on to the start of lap 21, JQB has actually overtaken both of these cars again within pretty much the same lap. So he's just getting through the cars very, very quickly at this stage in the race. He really is using that raw speed he has around here to his advantage, and we just haven't been able to catch them as quickly. So moving towards the end of that 21, we are going to get in the DRS zone of Felipe, but we are quite a little bit too far back to be making any impact at this stage here. And I think, no, we're not going to stay on board for the end of the race here. Coming into this braking zone, it's just about trying to get through these cars as quick as I possibly can, because JQB is still only just up the road, and there is another group of cars as well that we could be closing in on. So now we're going to skip towards the end of that 23, and this is an opportunity that I really did need to take. So we're going to use the ERS, but decided then to turn it off because I knew that Felipe was probably going to use a lot of his ERS, and this has costed me time. But if I used all of that ERS and didn't pull off the move, it's just not going to work out at all here. So not able to get through the traffic as quick as JKB, but I'm still feeling like I'm driving a very, very good race at this point. Starting P13 around this circuit, I feel we're making pretty good progress, and there's still a lot of places up for grabs towards the end of this race, and we do have the freshest tyres in the field as well. So I'm just trying to navigate through these guys as quick as I possibly can. You can see Jakey has caught that group. I think he's already got past another one again, so he's really really going through the field very nicely, but I'm just trying to just save my ERS and then just use it at the right time, because if you make a commitment and it doesn't pull off, then you could be in pretty big trouble. And also a word of warning that this video, as you've probably already seen, is a long one, and I think we're going to stay on board till the end of this race as well, because a lot of stuff did happen over the next few laps. So right here I'm just trying to get as close as I possibly can going to this last corner, using a little burst of the ERS just to try and make sure I pick up enough of the slipstream, pulling away from Dominic behind and Ron here. You can see Ron here has really dropped back on those hard tyres, and now we're going to just launch our attack here, going on the DRS, going into rich mix, full deployment, and you can see that red light is flashing, which I know means it's under 20%, so I don't think he's going to really fight this too hard here. Now we're coming up to the back of SHZ Felipe, and I thought about using all of the ERS here and then trying to get the DRS on the cars ahead, but I decided to wait on this occasion because I didn't know if it was going to work or not, because I didn't see his red light flashing. So I thought he might have a little bit too much in the locker for me to attempt that overtake. So again, like we did with Jonas, we are just going to sit behind him, and you can see JKB has got past both of those cars as well. So if we want to get these positions, if I want to get JKB at the end, time really is running out now. So coming through this double left, just making sure we get a good exit. Such a difficult corner to do on this game here, and we're just going to use a little bit of the overtake button, actually pulling out of his slipstream, just to try and keep the engine as cool as I possibly can. And that's the reason why I do go and lean. Sometimes it's not just for the traction, it's actually just to keep the engine temps under control, because then you will get a little bit more of a power advantage to cooler the engine actually is here. So now coming into here, it's crucial that I make the overtake in this lap, just in case he gets the DRS on the cars ahead. So trying to get his best exit as I possibly can onto the main straight, and this should be a pretty easy move. So I turn off my ERS pretty early, and I don't think he's really fighting that too hard. And now we're on to the back of McCabe Sam and Smasher, and this is the fight for P4, realistically probably P5. And honestly, the way I've been feeling with this game and just not delivering in the quality and a field of this caliber around this track, I would take that all day of the week here. So on this lap again, it's just all about getting in that DRS zone and making sure I harvest a little bit of my ERS. So I knew it was going to be pretty difficult to cruise right up to the back of him here, because the longer this race goes on, the closer the tyre advantage gets between the hard and the medium tyre as well. So I knew if I wanted to get this move done, I do have to get it done fairly soon, and we are entering that very annoying 3-man DRS train. But you can see Smasher's or McCabe Sam's light is flashing red, so I knew he was low on the ERS, but I am quite low myself. So if I do commit to this move, I'm going to have to make sure it's going to be the correct one if I want to launch any attack on Smasher for the final lap, because JKB looks like he is pulling away ever so slightly. So getting a good exit of this corner, deciding not to use any of the overtake button because I knew that it just wasn't going to happen. He's got the DRS on Smasher up ahead, so just trying to think about this smartly, and I think that's really what I've done this race. I've really just played it smart and just kept it consistent, which I think is the reason why I score pretty well over a season in leagues. Even if I'm not the fastest over a lap, or sometimes I have bad races, overall I'm just feel I'm very consistent in my results and my driving as well, which is what you need if you want to be successful over a league racing season. No, it's exactly what you need. Like in AOR back in the day, I won 8 races but still lost the championship because of disconnects or other things happening as well. So it's not about the race wins, it's just about how often you can outscore your opponents. That's all that matters at the end of the day, and that's what a lot of people really struggle with as well in this game. Unless you're Jarno Opmeer, there doesn't seem to be anyone who is just dominating week in, week out. Some people have really good races, some people bad races, and for me at this stage, definitely needs to just sort out my qualifying just the composure in the qualifying. If I can get that sorted, then I think we're good for the races here. But now moving on to this one, trying to get as close as we can. So we're in a very, very good position. I managed to save quite a lot of ERS this lap, always running into the back of him. Now we're going to deploy it, and I can see his lights flashing, so I definitely know I'd more than double the ERS. So we're actually going to turn it off pretty early just to save it for this next lap. So we're not going to move back to the racing line just in case he tries to commit to the outside here. And now we're in such a good position. JKB has gone up the road, and I think unless he gets a penalty, it's going to be very, very hard to get that position off him. But now we've got a smasher in front, and this is for P5 in the race. And again, the people in this league and the current drivers in Xbox, I honestly think we probably have very close to the 20 best drivers on Xbox right here. So this is like an esports version of the Xbox Racing League right now. I really do feel, in my opinion here. So I'm just trying to get as close as I can without using the minimum amount of ERS as possible. That's what I'm thinking here right now. And I haven't seen that red light flashing, so I know that he's got over 20% of that ERS. I knew that he might have a lot of ERS to defend with, so I'm just trying to prepare myself, just a little squirt of it, just to try and put him under a little bit of pressure. So it's really crucial that I get a good exit coming off this corner, just to try and put as much pressure as possible, use a little bit burst again. So I do have about 35% ERS, which is a good amount to use down the straight. So this is really going to be the only opportunity, trying to get a good exit off here. I almost lose the car. Now we're going to use it. Now let's see how much ERS he's got to play with. And his red light is flashing, so I know that I definitely have a lot more ERS than him, and he doesn't really go that defensive because I think he knew that the move was going to be done. But to be fair, I think if he did defend, that wouldn't have been the easiest overtake in the world. It wasn't like I was way ahead of him before the braking zone. He could have maybe outbroke me, but he doesn't really defend that hard, which is great news for me. And now it's just a case of just defending on the start. Like being in P5, myself and Jake have really come through the field and made this strategy work extremely nicely. And you can see even the leaders are not actually that far ahead. So I feel pretty happy with my race pace and just some of my decisions this race so far. I think coming into this, I really was not feeling confident, just feeling a little bit negative about my driving, if I'm being honest. So having this kind of result in this field, I was very, very, very happy with. But it's not over yet. We're just trying to get out of the DRS zone. There's only really one more opportunity that Smasher can do in this race here. We started to close in on Oates in P3, and the gap has stayed pretty much the same to JKB. Go deploy the rest of our ERS. Actually got out of the DRS zone on that last lap, and you can see that's just a bit of a sigh of relief. And I was really, really happy with this, to be honest, of this performance. Yeah, apart from the quali, I think in the race we did a good job, and yeah, quite satisfied of that, considering that's one of the tracks I didn't expect to score that very high on against this field. So overall, I definitely just need to try and just get my rhythm back in terms of composure over one lap. I feel if I do that, then we could be fighting for a lot more wins, a lot more podiums and stuff, which the results have still been good, but not gonna lie, at this stage I just need to get that fire back when I do a super, super good lap. So that moment will come, and if anyone's going through the same thing, I promise you this is a natural thing, and you just got to believe in yourself, and the support you get, it really, really helps. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this race. It was quite a long race, but again, I hope you enjoyed that perspective. Make sure you tune in tomorrow to Vietnam in this league, which is going to be a very, very interesting race. So thank you so much, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.